I have transmigrated into a cannon fodder character in a historical romance novel. The female lead is the red flower, and I am merely the green leaf set there to highlight her brilliance. When the male lead stormed into the wedding banquet of the female lead and the treacherous official to snatch her away, the female lead yanked the priceless golden hairpin from her hair. I don't covet your things. What I want is a union of mutual affection, not a marriage where we loathe the sight of each other. Who would have thought the hairpin would land directly on my head? I let out a soft chuckle. Since elder sister does not wish to enjoy this overwhelming fortune, then I shall accept it on your behalf, elder sister. This took not only the male and female leads by surprise, but even the treacherous official was stunned. Wait, I had only just arrived here, and I happened to run into the female lead, Zhao Suxu, on the day of her grand wedding to the treacherous official Song Yanli. The male lead, Zhang Cheng, had come alone to hijack the wedding. I was hiding in the crowd, watching the drama unfold. I saw the male and female leads looking so righteous, confronting the story's #1 villain, Song Yanli. In the center of the crowd, Zhao Suxu was dressed in a bridal gown as red as fire, staring at Song Yanli with teary, blurry eyes, looking tragically beautiful and resolute. Song Yanli, I don't covet your things. The male lead, Zhang Cheng, dressed in coarse cloth, pulled her behind him. A forced melon is never sweet. Song Yanli, don't think that just because you have power and influence, you can win Zwir's heart. The one she likes is not you, but me. Song Yanli, also wearing his wedding attire, raised an eyebrow, remaining silent, his expression growing dark. These days, love is worth nothing. It scatters with a single gust of wind. It's not nearly as reliable as a priceless piece of gold. I stared at the golden hairpin sitting quietly on the female lead's head, my eyes shining with greed. Since the female lead can enjoy this blessing, then I will enjoy it for her. Sure enough, the next second, Zhao Suxu abruptly ripped the golden hairpin from her hair. What I want is a union of mutual affection, not a marriage where we loathe the sight of each other. As she spoke, the hairpin she was about to throw on the ground instead landed straight into my hair. The onlookers around us fell into an instant dead silence. My father and the mistress, sitting in the seats of honor, stared at me squatting there with their jaws dropped. I sensed a subtle shift in the atmosphere and stood up with the heavy golden hairpin on my head. I grasped Zhao Suxu's hand, my eyes filled with tears. Since elder sister and master Song loathe the sight of each other, then this overwhelming fortune I will accept on your behalf, elder sister. This took not only the male and female leads by surprise, but even Song Yanli was stunned. However, being a treacherous official,
he quickly regained his composure,
looking at me with an amused expression. This golden hairpin is an heirloom from my mother. Since you have worn it, you must become my wife. Are you willing? I am 1,000 times, 10,000 times willing. My head bobbed up and down, like a rattling drum. If Hei's willing, I'd be eager to perform the wedding ceremony with him right now, and have 2 kids in 3 years. Song Yanli turned to look at the bewildered Zhao Suxu, and said coolly, since eldest Miss Zhao is unwilling to submit to me, let your younger sister take your place. I paid for this red bridal gown as well. Take it off. You are bullying me too much. Zhao Suxu glared at Song Yanli. Her original plan had instantly fallen through, and she had to humiliatingly take off the expensive bridal gown, throwing it fiercely at my face, before leaving with Zhang Cheng in bitterness. The bridal gown she threw at my face was worth even more than the golden hairpin. According to the original plot, after she humiliated the treacherous official, she would wrap herself in this expensive gown and escape the wedding with the male lead. Later, by selling the wedding attire, the two of them lived quite comfortably. Too bad for them, they ran into me, the unwanted guest. He must hate me a lot. But I've always been thick-skinned, and I never care what others think. As long as I'm comfortable, that's all that matters. I put on the bridal gown that originally belonged to Zhao Suxu, followed behind Song Yanli, and happily finished the wedding ceremony with him. The mistress sitting in the hall nearly died of anger, while my father was beaming with joy. Anyway, he had 2 daughters. Who he married off didn't matter. As long as the groom was Song Yanli, it was fine. After the wedding, I, along with Song Yanli, entered the bridal chamber. He picked up the wooden scale, lifted the red veil from my head, and said in a cold tone, although you helped me today, I already have someone else in my heart, so I cannot share this bed with you. He expected me to be sad, but who knew I would beam with joy instead? I only like his money anyway. I'm not interested in him as a person. Song Yanli, having just stepped out, stopped and looked back at me. You are very happy? I laughed until I started crying, putting on a tragic act. Woo. Husband, if you dislike me, why don't you sleep on the couch? I don't mind sleeping on the floor. Song Yanli probably thought I was sick in the head. He half clenched his fist, coughed a few times, and turned to leave the room. Once he was gone, I happily sprawled out on the couch, dreaming of my future life of wealth and leisure. Acting like a sycophant like that wasn't because I was actually crazy, but because I didn't want to live that humble life of a dependent anymore. Half a month ago, I, who had been a billionaire in my previous life, died in an avalanche, and became this humble, cannon fodder concubine's daughter in this novel. Although technically a young lady, a concubine's daughter has no status in a typical household. What's more, my mother in this body died the moment she gave birth to me. I was casually fostered under the mistress's name. The mistress remembered how my cheap mother, when she was alive, would constantly try to seduce my father. And seeing my face, which looked exactly like hers, only fueled her rage. This anger naturally shifted onto me. She didn't just withhold my monthly allowance, but she wouldn't even let me sit at the table for meals, forcing me to squeeze in with the maids, sometimes eating worse than them. After I turned 15, she planned, once her own daughter married Song Yanli, to marry me off to some old widower who was as old as my father. Luckily, I stumbled upon the female lead's blind moment. She had such a golden opportunity, but chose to ignore it, choosing instead to follow a poor, useless scholar, to live a life of misery. If she wants to be blind, so be it. At least I'm not. Thinking of the original plot makes me angry. The arrogant and peerless Song Yanli was constantly subservient to the female lead, working himself to the bone for love, only to be humiliated and mocked by her. The benefits he provided were, in the end, always accepted by the female lead without hesitation. The male lead would even get a share of the spoils. The two of them were like ungrateful wolves, turning around to bite the hand that fed them, accusing Song Yanli of treason. They gave him the reputation of a great treacherous official. Now that I'm here, that scumbag Jiang Cheng and the shameless Zhao Suxu won't get to take advantage of Song Yanli ever again. The day after the wedding is the return visit to the bride's home. Song Yanli, who spent the night in the study, had ordered a carriage early in the morning, waiting for me at the door. Who knew that the moment I saw the carriage, my face would go pale? I hadn't even gotten on before I started saying I felt like vomiting. Before I transmigrated, I had motion sickness, and I didn't expect that even after transmigrating, I'd still have it. Since riding horses isn't allowed on the main streets of the capital, I saw the look of dilemma on Song Yanli's face. You go ahead to the Zhao residence and wait for me. I'll take some time to recover here. I'll walk over with Xiao Ru in a while. It's the same. The Song residence isn't actually that far from the Zhao residence. Going by carriage is getting there, and walking is also getting there. Song Yanli couldn't sway me. There were gifts for my father and the mistress in the carriage, so he had to take the carriage first. When I slowly strolled over with my maid to the entrance of the Zhao residence, Zhao Suxu, the mistress, and my father were already lined up waiting at the gate. I squinted my eyes. I heard from my maid that after Zhao Suxu escaped the wedding with Jiang Cheng, she had shamelessly returned shortly after. Father didn't blame her much. Because I married Song Yanli, she no longer needed to be a tool for marriage alliances. Only the mistress was furious, calling her a complete idiot. I rarely agreed with the mistress. Throughout history and around the world, I have never met a female lead as stupid as Xiao Suxu, passing up a powerful, wealthy, and golden bachelor, just to follow a self-absorbed man who can't even afford a meal. Zhao Suxu was standing in front of Song Yanli with her hands on her hips, her tone aggressive. Song Yanli, you forcibly married Shanger. Even if you don't like her, she is your wife now. How could you let your own wife walk back for the return visit, while you arrived by carriage? This is too insulting. You clearly don't hold the Zhao family in any regard. Strange, I was the one who voluntarily married Song Yanli. How did it turn into him forcibly marrying me? I hardened my expression, ready to explain, but was interrupted by Song Yanli. Eldest Miss Zhao, you misunderstand. It's that Shanger isn't used to carriages. She gets sick as soon as she sits in one. So I went ahead to the Zhao residence first. What? Zhao Suxu heard this, as if she had just heard the biggest joke in the world. She gets sick in a carriage? Why have I never heard of this? My younger sister couldn't possibly be such a delicate person. You don't know a damn thing. When I was in the household. When did you, the eldest daughter, ever care about me, the dispensable younger sister? When your mother was withholding my allowance and forbidding me from eating at the table, why didn't I see you, the saint, come to uphold justice for me? No one in this family ever cared if I lived or died. Now that my husband is so considerate of me, you dare to slander my husband and call me delicate? Zhao Suxu hurriedly said. Xiang'er, you've misunderstood him. I had a sudden realization. So if I misunderstood him, then it means you and your mother conspired to make things difficult for me? Zhao Suxiang, you bastard child of a wench! How dare you slander your legal sister and me, the mistress of the house? The mistress, who had been watching coldly, ready to strike when Zhao Suxu opened the path, seeing me bring up the old days of her mistreatment, started jumping with rage. Mistress, if you haven't done these things, why are you so anxious? I deliberately took out a silk handkerchief in front of Song Yanli to wipe away the tears I had squeezed out. Sure enough, Song Yanli cast a cold glance at the mistress, his words laced with threats. Out of respect for Xiang'er, I address you as mother-in-law. Do not be ungrateful. Wretched woman, who gave you the right to speak here? Father, seeing Song Yanli's face change, immediately showed a look of fury and slapped the mistress hard across the face. Now that I am Song Yanli's wife, with this treacherous official backing me up, even my father, a low-ranking 6th grade official, had to speak to me with extreme politeness, let alone a mere wife of the Zhao house. But Zhao Suxu still lacked the foresight. She grabbed my hand and said with earnest concern, Xiang'er, you don't know. Song Yanli is a treacherous man who uses his wealth and power to do whatever he pleases. You must not be fooled by his facade. Before she could finish, I slapped her hard across the face, leaving her cheek burning with pain. Even Song Yanli was shocked by the force of my slap. I don't know what Song Yanli was like before, but now that I am married to him, in my eyes, he is incredibly kind and considerate toward me. If anyone dares to speak ill of him in front of me, that is clearly an intentional attempt to sow discord. Do not blame me, Zhao Suxiang, for choosing righteousness over family. What a fine choosing righteousness over family. And it extinguished the arrogance of everyone present. When I followed my father into the mansion, Song Yanli, who had always been cold and distant toward me, rarely lowered his head to whisper in my ear, Xiao Suxiang, you are the first woman to ever defend me so fiercely in front of so many outsiders. I raised my eyes to look at him with some surprise. He had already walked over to my father's side and started discussing court affairs. However, the tips of his ears had turned a shade of crimson. Since that visit home, my relationship with Song Yanli had grown much closer. Although he was still reserved toward me, he would often come to sit with me whenever he had free time, and he would even bring me my favorite snacks. Although I had decided to hold on to this thigh of power, but ultimately, being soft-mouthed from eating his food and weak-handed from taking his gifts, under the encouragement of my maid, I personally brewed chicken soup and sent it to him. These days happened to be the release of the imperial examination results. Song Yanli, as the chief examiner, was leading his subordinates to post the notices. I had just arrived, gave the chicken soup to Song Yanli, and took the opportunity to share it with his subordinates, to show his appreciation for their hard work. Zhao Suxu arrived moments later, looking aggressive, followed by a dejected-looking Jiang Cheng. That was when I remembered. Jiang Cheng, the male lead in the book, also took the imperial exam.
But
Song Yanli, you despicable villain. I was the one who didn't want to marry you. Why are you making things difficult for Jiang Cheng? What did I do? Song Yanli slowly set down the bowl of chicken soup he was holding, bearing the weight of an unprovoked accusation. A rare look of shock appeared in his eyes. I couldn't help but show him a look of sympathy. Sure enough, the next moment, Jiang Cheng grabbed Zhao Suxu's sleeve, his tone filled with unconcealable sadness, yet he insisted on pretending to be stoic.
enough.
Zhuir, if Lord Song made me fail the exam, he must have his reasons. It certainly wasn't on purpose. Even though I failed this time, I will just work harder for the next one. Hearing this, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. I glanced sideways and whispered a few words to my maid Xiao Yu. Damn, I've seen plenty of green tea women before, But today is my first time encountering such a rare species, a green tea man. Seeing him like this, Zhao Suxu felt even more heartbroken and furious. Song Yanli, do you know how much effort Jiang Cheng put into this imperial examination? You actually used your disgusting power to suppress a scholar from a humble background, making him fail the exam. You truly have no shame left. Zhao Suxu, have you ever thought, if I truly wanted to make things difficult for him, I have 100 ways to crush him, instead of using such low-level tactics? Song Yanli was so angry he nearly laughed. He didn't know whether to mock Zhao Suxu's stupidity or Jiang Cheng's shamelessness. Zhao Suxu's face darkened. You still dare to be stubborn? Jiang Cheng's grades in the academy have always been excellent. There is no way he wouldn't make the list. It is clear that you intentionally made him fail. If you don't give us an explanation today, we will file a complaint to the emperor. Then please, eldest Miss Zhao, feel free to report it. Song Yanli's expression suddenly sank, as if he could eat someone alive. It would be best if you repeat those words before the emperor himself, and we shall see exactly who is the one with a guilty conscience. Zhao Suxu, who was arrogant just a moment ago, froze. Song Yanli walked slowly toward Jiang Cheng, his aura dark and menacing. Jiang Cheng couldn't hold his ground and looked away, feeling guilty. Seeing this, Zhao Suxu took a sharp step forward, blocking Jiang Cheng. She glared at Song Yanli with hatred. What? Does Lord Song want to bully others just because of your official rank? Zhao Suxu, tell me, why did I ever want to marry such an idiot? If I had really married a hypocritical villain like you, I would have been disgusted with myself too. Song Yanli heard this and gritted his teeth, getting truly fired up. I couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Song Yanli is, after all, the second male lead. No matter how powerful he is, once he encounters the main characters, he becomes like a mentally handicapped person who had his skills nerfed. His only purpose is to become a key prop in the main character's little drama. But fortunately, this transmigrator have arrived. He is liberated. Finally, he doesn't have to be a weak-minded fool anymore. Song Yanli was silenced, and Jiang Cheng, hiding behind Zhao Suxu, became even more arrogant. Song Yanli, since you know you're in the wrong, hurry up and add my name to the list. Just as Song Yanli was about to retort, I spoke up first. Add what? You are incompetent yourself, and your name isn't on the list. What does that have to do with the chief examiner? Zhao Suxu's face fell. Zhao Suxiang, which eye of yours saw that our Jiang Cheng is incompetent? Without any proof. How dare you spout nonsense? Without proof. I have it. Jiang Cheng, hearing a few roars from behind, I calmly stepped aside. A man in a rough garment walked in angrily, following my maid, Xia Yu. His gaze toward Jiang Cheng was filled with pure hatred. Zhao Suxu was puzzled. Who is this man? Before she knew it, the man fiercely dragged the Jiang Cheng behind him out. Tell them. Who am I? Jiang Cheng looked incredibly guilty, his eyes darting around. He is an old friend of mine. Just as Zhao Suxu's doubts were about to fade, the man flared up instantly, kicking Jiang Cheng hard in the waist. Bullshit. Who is your friend? You paid me to take the test for you, and you dare to skip out on the money. Zhao Suxu panicked and rushed to mediate, but the man took advantage and slapped her hard across the face. Your mistress still wants to protect you and cheat me out of my money? A pair of unfaithful, adulterous scoundrels. It'll beat you both. For a moment, the scene was chaotic. Song Yanli and I quickly took people to pull them apart. In the struggle, Song Yanli's subordinate finally remembered who this man was. Oh my god, isn't this the guy who specializes in taking exams for others, that old Wang? As long as you give him money, he'll take the test for you. As these words fell, the scene fell into a deathly silence. Zhao Suxu, who still wanted to seek justice for Jiang Cheng, looked at him in utter disbelief. What does this mean? I felt satisfied now, and said to him with my hands on my hips, what does it mean? My dear elder sister, are you living in a fantasy world? Your Jiang Cheng hired someone to take the exam for him. Song Yanli also stopped fighting, looking gloomily at Jiang Cheng, who was almost beaten into a pig's head. Jiang Cheng, so all your previous exams were taken by this man? Jiang Cheng's face turned pale. Even with disaster looming, he remained stubborn. How is that possible? He is spouting nonsense and you believe him? Don't slander me. I am spouting nonsense. The palace exam must be taken by you personally. But do you dare say the provincial exam was taken by yourself? Jiang Cheng, let's go to the Yamen right now. In front of the magistrate, can you write that essay from the provincial exam again? Do you dare? Old Wang was furious when he heard this, raising his hand to give him a few more slaps. I grabbed his wrist and smiled lightly at the sweat-drenched Jiang Cheng. Can you transcribe that essay from the provincial exam again? Do you dare? My future cheap brother-in-law? Zhao Suxu collapsed, violently shaking him, demanding he answer immediately. As it turned out, he dared not answer, nor could he provide a reason to refute old Wang. In the original book, he also found a substitute, but later, old Wang took the money Zhao Suxu gave him and ran away early, avoiding being caught by Song Yanli. That solidified the claim that he was framed by Song Yanli. Now that they've intercepted this, I'd like to see what else he and Zhao Suxu can stir up. Song Yanli, cold-faced, ignored Zhao Suxu's scene-making, and with a wave of his hand, his subordinates tied Jiang Cheng up and sent him to the Yamen. Not long after, the news of Jiang Cheng's exam fraud spread through every street in the capital. The emperor was furious. Not only did he have Jiang Cheng beaten 50 times, he had him paraded through the streets and fined him 500 taels of silver. His reputation was completely ruined, and his future destroyed. I originally thought that after this experience, Zhao Suxu would see Jiang Cheng's true nature. To my surprise, a dog can't stop eating excrement, and a love brain can't change its nature of digging for wild vegetables. After she secretly visited Jiang Cheng in jail, she turned around with tear-stained eyes to beg father, and in front of me and Song Yanli, she forced him to pay that 500 taels for Jiang Cheng. Father was furious. Because of Zhao Suxu and Jiang Cheng causing such a ruckus, the Zhao family name was already in the dirt. You actually want to pay for that slut's debt? His anger grew. In front of everyone, he slapped her across the face several times. He even forced the mistress to arrange a marriage for Zhao Suxu, determined to marry her off and get rid of her. Who would have thought that, after this path was blocked, this woman would turn her eyes and dare to target Song Yanli? After I left the mansion, a guard beside Song Yanli secretly found me and handed me a note. When I unfolded the note, a thick, seductive scent filled the air. It was a lewd and suggestive poem, every word dripping with sycophancy. The signatures wear made the hair on my arms rise in disgust. So this was the beauty trap that Zhao Suxu had painstakingly set. She wanted to use this to blackmail Song Yanli into helping Jiang Cheng pay his debts. The guard asked me anxiously what to do. What to do? I should handle it properly and make a big show of it. A cold smile curled on my lips, and I crumpled the note into crumbs. I ordered someone to mimic Song Yanli's handwriting and send a reply. A few days later, on a dark and windy night, it was the perfect time to catch a turtle in a jar. I spent a large sum of money to invite Song Yanli and my father to drink at the largest tavern in the capital. We had just sat down when earth-shattering cries came from upstairs, drawing everyone in the tavern to crowd up and watch the commotion. The three of us were no exception, following the crowd. Soon, a shrill scream came from the center of the chaos. The voice was truly familiar. Father's brows furrowed tightly. He pushed through the crowd to look inside. Suddenly, his eyes widened, and he nearly gasped his last breath. Stay close to me. Don't get separated. There are too many people here. It's dangerous. I followed their gaze into the room. Inside, and disheveled Zhao Suxu was sitting on the table, howling in tears. On the floor, two men were tangled in a brawl. One was Jiang Cheng, who had just been released, and the other was the fiancé arranged for Zhao Suxu by the mistress, Master Li. Jiang Cheng and Zhao Suxu had been stoking the fire, only to be caught red-handed by Master Li. Seeing Song Yanli behind me, Zhao Suxu's face twisted as she screamed, "Stop hitting." This was all Song Yanli intentionally framing us. Father leaped up, pointing at her nose and cursing, "You are the one who is unchaste. And now you dare to shift the blame to others? Look at the good deeds you've done. You've utterly shamed the Zhao family. What else do you have to say for yourself? Father is right." Now she even tries to blame her own brother-in-law? Seeing father was already furious, I decided to add more fuel to the fire. Let his anger burn even brighter. Zhao Suxu looked at me with hatred, as if she wanted to strip my skin and dismember me. Xiao Suxiang, UBTCH. You traitor. Before she could finish her words, Song Yanli suddenly gripped her neck tightly, like a dying goose. She struggled in vain. Zhao Suxu, you are not allowed to insult Shang'er. Not even a single word. Song Yanli's expression was cold and dark, his grip tightening with even more force. Song Yanli, if you have the guts, then choke me to death. If you dare to insult Shang'er again, I will not let you off next time. Just as she was about to roll her eyes back, Song Yanli released her.
He took me out of the restaurant.
In the carriage back to the manor, I kept my head turned toward the window. Suddenly, a hand with well-defined knuckles forcefully turned my face toward him. I bumped into a pair of eyes that were faintly smiling. Are you still angry because of how Zhao Sexu scolded you earlier? I looked at Song Yanli and rolled my eyes dramatically. How could I possibly be angry at such an idiot? Song Yanli paused for a moment, his expression darkening involuntarily. Shang'er is angry at me then. His Shang'er softened my heart, but I was still feeling a bit resentful. I swatted his hand away impatiently. That's right. I'm angry you didn't choke her to death earlier. A woman who indiscriminately slanders and demeans you, what could possibly make her worth your affection? I had long known the other person in his heart was Xiao Sexu. But I still didn't understand what on earth Song Yanli liked about her. Because she once gave me a bowl of porridge. Song Yanli told me he used to be even more miserable than Jiang Cheng, a little beggar who was always hungry and cold. Later, he ended up at the entrance of the Zhao Manor. A little girl saw how pitiful he was and gave him rice porridge to drink every day. I slowly began to like her. I wanted to know her name, but she kept stuttering and didn't dare say it, afraid of being discovered by people in the manor. I only knew that under her eyelid, there was a beautiful peach blossom birthmark. As a result, later on, I never saw her again. Until I saw Zhao Suxu again. I discovered she had a peach blossom birthmark under her eyelid, exactly the same as that little girl's. I chuckled softly. So that was it. Suddenly, he grabbed my hand. Shang'er, don't worry. Now that I have you, there won't be anyone else, including Zhao Suxu. You fool. My eyes grew warm. I leaned into his arms. It wasn't because I was deeply moved by his words, but because I felt bad for him being such an unlucky cannon fodder. A mere bowl of white porridge was enough to steal his heart. Just like that, being fooled by the female lead. The male lead was framed as a treacherous official. Just because he is a secondary male character, why must he suffer? This is too unfair. NPC lives matter too, alright? After causing such a huge scene at the tavern, Zhao Suxu's reputation in the capital was completely ruined. The Li family called off the engagement. How could I have a daughter as shameless as you? In the end, she got her wish and married Jiang Cheng, a failed scholar with a criminal record. The Zhao family has no room for you. From now on, you are cut off from the Zhao family. They didn't even give her a single cent of dowry. Jiang Cheng was already struggling to feed himself before, and now with Zhao Suxu added to the mix, the two were so poor they couldn't even put food on the table. Perhaps it's true that poverty leads to constant strife between couples. Zhao Suxu finally began to miss the benefits of being with Song Yanli. So she seized the opportunity while I was out of the mansion to sneakily go see Song Yanli. However, she didn't know that after our heart-to-heart talk in the carriage, Song Yanli and I were now of one mind. I returned to the mansion with Xiaoyu shortly after. As soon as I entered, I saw her standing in front of Song Yanli, sobbing weakly. The peach blossom birthmark under her eyelid looked both delicate and seductive. Lord Song, back then, I was truly blind. That is why I mistook Jiang Cheng for you from all those years ago. I was so terrified at the time. I simply couldn't believe that you, the dignified chief counselor, would have once been that beggar eating porridge. So when Jiang Cheng told me he was the one, I believed him immediately. I never expected that when I asked him for details later, he wouldn't remember a single thing. She looked at Song Yanli with teary, aggrieved eyes, her voice choking with sobs. It was truly a sight to stir anyone's pity. After listening to her emotional story, Song Yanli said coldly, Mrs. Jiang, the past is the past. Let us each live our own lives in peace. Who knew that Xiao Suxu wouldn't stop at just acting pitiful? Seeing that Song Yanli didn't push her away, she decided to push her luck even further. She grabbed his wrist, a flash of obsession crossing her eyes. If that is the case, then, Lord Song, can you still reconcile with me and let go of the past? Good heavens, she is really using her status as the female lead to try and steal my husband right in front of me. Seeing Song Yanli abruptly pull his hand away, I spoke up unhurriedly. Elder sister wants to reconcile with your former brother-in-law. And what next? Are you planning to wash your hands and become a concubine? Zhao Suxu's body stiffened. She bit her lip and turned to look at me. Shang'er. You have misunderstood. It is clearly I who am being cheated on, yet she acts as if she is the one who suffered such great grievance. I laughed. Misunderstood? What exactly is misunderstood? Aren't you currently flirting with my husband? Absurd, as if her true intentions had been exposed by me. Zhao Suxu grew flustered and angry. Shang'er. Do not forget. Song Yanli and I have known each other since we were children. And what qualifications do you have? Qualifications? What qualifications do you have? Back then, it was you, elder sister, who would rather die than marry Song Yanli. It was you, elder sister, who used malicious words to slander Song Yanli. And now it is still you, elder sister, who is clinging shamelessly, trying to patch things up with Song Yanli. You truly have mastered the art of being flexible and resilient, haven't you, elder sister? So you don't actually like Song Yanli. He's just supposed to wait where he is for you to come back to him? You want all the good things in this world to fall into your lap alone. Seeing that his face had changed, I didn't stop there. I snatched the sesame oil from Zhao Zhe's hand and fiercely splashed it onto her face. Zhao Suxu shrieked. What are you doing? I watched her frantically wipe the oil off her face and sneered. Since you claim to be the little girl who gave Song Yanli porridge back then, do you even remember what kind of porridge it was? Zhao Suxu's face suddenly turned deathly pale. Her speech became stuttered and awkward. It's been so long. Who would remember what kind of porridge it was? I think it was vegetable porridge, right? Upon hearing this, Song Yanli suddenly clamped his hand around her jaw. He wiped away the oily residue from under her eyes with a harsh motion, leaving behind only a smeared, garish mess of paint. I saw a cold, chilling glint surface in his eyes. Song Yanli landed a fierce slap across Zhao Suxu's face. The impact caused her to spit blood instantly. Zhao Suxu had lied to him. That bowl of porridge was never vegetable porridge. It was century egg porridge. The one thing Song Yanli hated most was being lied to. After Song Yanli kicked Zhao Suxu out, he came to my room. His eyes were red as he looked at me. His expression was one of anger, but even more so, one of deep sorrow. Men's trousers. Avoid expensive spending. Solid craftsmanship. These men's trousers with so many advantages. Why didn't you tell me sooner? The little girl from back then was. Before he could finish his sentence, I cut him off. It wasn't me. The little girl who served you that porridge is already dead. Song Yanli looked stunned. Dead? How could she not? I looked at him, calmly recounting everything the original owner of this body suffered. Just like you. She was merely a lowly ant in this world. She died under the daily torture of her mistress. There was never a plum blossom birthmark on her face. That was a scar burned onto her skin by the servants on the mistress's orders using a red-hot iron. But Zhao Suxu thought that scar on her face looked particularly beautiful, so she drew one herself, never expecting that it would become famous throughout the capital. She became a celebrated beauty known across the land, yet no one knew that she attained it by stepping over the blood and tears of her own half-sister. I'm sorry. Song Yanli couldn't bear to hear anymore. He suddenly pulled me into his arms, sobbing and repeatedly apologizing to me. I patted his shoulder, a bitter taste spreading in my heart. But how could it be him, Song Yanli, who needs to apologize? He, just like my original self, was just a cannon fodder in this vulgar world, a stepping stone for the protagonists to reach their happy ending. Fortunately, Song Yanli has woken up now. My efforts were not in vain. Ever since Zhao Suxu was driven out of the estate that day, she and Jiang Cheng quite rarely had not appeared before us again. I heard from Song Yanli that Jiang Cheng had taken Zhao Sexu to a neighboring country, where they started a gold mining business. It grew bigger and bigger. It wasn't until father's birthday banquet that I finally crossed paths with Zhao Sexu again. By then, she and Jiang Cheng had long since shed their former poverty. She wore a noblewoman's hairstyle, draped in silks and satins that looked incredibly expensive. She merely glanced at me dismissively, offering no greeting. I didn't think much of it. After she served tea to father and the mistress, I followed behind her to offer my cup of tea to them as well. Who would have thought that, after the mistress drank my tea, she suddenly rolled her eyes, kicked her legs out, foamed at the mouth, and fainted dead away. The scene descended into chaos. Hide behind me. Be careful, it's dangerous. Zhao Sexu stared at me in shock, holding the teacup. She shrieked hysterically. Zhao Sexiang, how dare you use arsenic to poison my mother? Father glared at me with disbelief as well, believing her malicious lies. Xiang'er, did you really poison her with arsenic? The crowd cast their eyes toward me in unison, their gazes complex. They say this Zhao Sexiang is just a concubine-born daughter of the Zhao family. She must hate her mistress and legitimate elder sister to the bone. Alas, back then her husband Song Yanli originally had his heart set on her elder sister. It was only because the elder sister disdained power that she managed to pick him up as a bargain. But Lord Song still has the elder sister, lingering in his heart. It must be jealousy toward her elder sister. This poison must have been administered by Zhao Sexiang. Song Yanli cast a fierce, menacing glare at them. The truth is not yet clear. Whoever dares to gossip about my wife again, don't blame me for having your tongues cut out. Watching Song Yanli protect me, my initial sense of grievance vanished completely. I even revealed a faint, sweet smile. It is fortunate that even when the whole world turned against me, the one I love most still steadfastly believed in me. Perhaps seeing that I was at death's door, yet still smiling with a grin, Jiang Cheng roared. Zhao Sexiang, you poisonous woman, how can you even have the audacity to smile? Zhao Sexu seemed ready to cry her eyes out, pointing at me as she trembled. Zhao Sexiang, you ungrateful ingrate. My mother raised you as her own daughter. And now, not only are you not grateful, and poisoning my mother to harm her, you truly have a venomous heart. I walked out from behind Song Yanli, tilted my head and looked at her with a smile. Eldest sister, are you certain that it was I who put arsenic in the mistress's tea? Who else could it be but you? Everyone present saw it. It was you who put poison in my mother's tea. How dare you still try to argue? Seeing that I still maintained a devil-may-care attitude, Zhao Sexu's eyes turned red with fury. I slowly crouched down, stared fixedly into her teary eyes, and repeated myself. Are you really certain it was I who put arsenic in the mistress's tea? At that moment, the previously boisterous scene became deathly silent because of my words. Zhao Sexu finally realized something, and a flash of panic crossed her eyes as she looked at me. Zhao Sexu hardly tried to make up for it. I never expected that elder sister, besides being beautiful, is also so skilled in medicine. The physician hasn't even spoken yet you already knew the poison I used was arsenic. As the words fell, the physician who had just been examining the mistress hurried out, confirming that the poison in the tea bowl was indeed arsenic. Fortunately, the dosage was small. Otherwise, not even the gods could have saved her. Song Yanli walked over and dealt the final blow. They say arsenic is colorless and odorless. Unless one is a physician. May I ask why eldest Miss Zhao is so certain that it is arsenic? As soon as he said this, the crowd burst into an uproar. Lord Song is right. The physician hasn't even said anything yet. How would Zhao Sexu know it was arsenic? Could it be that they are thieves crying "Stop thief"? Oh my heavens! Could it be that Zhao Sexu was the one who poisoned her own mother? Zhao Sexu's expression changed drastically. How could that be? You're all talking nonsense. How could I possibly harm my own mother? Unfortunately, she was not Song Yanli. No one was listening to her defense. Why is it impossible? Jiang Cheng was just a penniless nobody with nothing back then. Perhaps she was the one who wanted to harm the mistress. Oh my, perhaps it was Xiao Suxu and her partner, who intended to poison Master Zhao. Today is his birthday banquet. When they were married years ago, Master Zhao obstructed them in every possible way, and even cut ties with Xiao Suxu in a fit of rage. Now the couple is holding a grudge, hoping to kill Master Zhao during the birthday banquet, and frame Lady Song, all to inherit the Zhao family fortune. Listening to the surrounding gossip, and seeing that Zhao Suxu had no rebuttal, father slapped Zhao Suxu in a fit of rage. Why did you know the poison in the teacup was arsenic? Could it truly be as they say? Song Yanli spoke coldly from the side. Since eldest Miss Zhao cannot explain herself clearly here, then let's go to the yamen and discuss it there. As he finished speaking, the two guards at his side moved to seize Xiao Suxu to take her to the yamen. Jiang Cheng kicked those two guards away, stepped in front of Song Yanli, and said with hatred, Song Yanli, if you dare to send Zhuir to the yamen, don't even think about the gold mine business anymore. I want to see how you answer to the emperor. Using the gold mine to threaten Song Yanli, this male Li Jiang Cheng is truly shameless. If it weren't for the book detailing how he obtained that gold mine, I would have almost believed he earned it through honest business. I glanced at his sleeve with disdain. Brother-in-law, why is something sticking out of your sleeve? Jiang Cheng's expression changed slightly at my words, and he subconsciously reached up to touch it, only then realizing he had been played by me. However, Song Yanli noticed his unnatural behavior. Catching him off guard, he grabbed his wrist and yanked out the object hidden in his sleeve. A piece of paper fluttered to the ground. Jiang Cheng panicked and tried to grab it. Song Yanli picked it up first and froze. Jiang Cheng, please explain. Why is Master Zhao's city defense map in your possession? Father heard this, his eyes widening, and after snatching the paper to look closely, he was filled with horror. I drew this city defense map. Why is it in the hands of a treacherous wretch like you? I sneered. Colluding with the enemy and betraying the country is a capital offense punishable by death. Jiang Cheng's eyes flickered, his forehead covered in cold sweat. Zhuir gave it to me. She said it would make business easier. I didn't know it was a city defense map. Hearing this, Xiao Suxu was furious, screaming as she crawled over to throttle Jiang Cheng. Jiang Cheng, I never thought you were such a villain. Song Yanli watched them tear each other apart coldly. Who exactly colluded with the enemy and betrayed the country? Once we get to the prison, everything will come to light. Soon at father's birthday banquet, Jiang Cheng and Xiao Suxu were dragged off to the Ministry of Justice prison. The next time I saw Xiao Suxu and Jiang Cheng, it was at the execution ground. It turned out that Jiang Cheng had taken Xiao Suxu to a neighboring country, intending to defect to the neighboring royal family. They were promised 2 gold mines in exchange for stealing the city defense map. And my father, though only a 6th-rank official, happened to be the one tasked with drawing the city defense map, which led them to concoct such a vicious scheme. Before the execution, Xiao Suxu wore a bright red wedding dress, smiling at me and Song Yanli. I won't let you off even as a ghost. You won't let me off even as a ghost? You couldn't kill me when you were alive. Don't even dream of it now that you're ghosts. Once Xiao Suxu and Jiang Cheng were dead, Song Yanli's political career became smooth sailing. He soon held immense power, but he was no longer the villainous official everyone criticized, but a respected and righteous minister. And I had a child with Song Yanli. Watching him clumsily coaxing the baby in the cradle, I couldn't help but feel my eyes grow moist. He hurriedly put the baby down and embraced me, asking why I was crying. I choked back tears and wiped them away, flashing him a radiant smile. Congratulations, Yanli. Congratulations on finally breaking free from your shackles and becoming the protagonist of your own life. My name is Song Yanli, the current chief counselor. Years ago, I was nothing but an abandoned child waiting to die on the streets of the capital. That winter night, a thin, frail girl from the Zhao household brought me porridge with century eggs, warming my entire winter. He had a burn mark under his eyelid that looked like a peach blossom. From then on, I studied hard and entered officialdom, just to find him. Later, seeing that Xiao Suxu had a peach blossom birthmark under her eye, I assumed it was her, and went to propose marriage. On the wedding day, Xiao Suxu rejected the marriage publicly. The gold hairpin fell to the ground. Zhao Suxiang picked it up and said, I am willing to take this fortune in my sister's stead. So I married her. On our wedding night, I coldly said my heart belonged to another, but she only smiled until her eyes curved. I asked what she was laughing at. She pretended to cry with forced tears. After I left, I heard her chuckling, and the corners of my mouth curled up. When we returned to her family home, she wasn't allowed a carriage and had to walk. Zhao Suxiu blocked the door and scolded me. What is wrong with you? Even if you don't like her, you shouldn't have made my sister. Walk back here. He walked up unhurriedly, sneering as he exposed the mistress's cruelty, and slapped Zhao Suxiu in front of everyone, saying, If anyone slanders my wife, I will serve justice even to my own kin. Who dares to slander my husband? Don't blame me for serving justice over kinship. You are the first woman to protect me. Since then, I bought Osmantha's cakes for him every day to put by his bed, watching him eat with a smile, feeling happy in my heart. On the day the imperial examination results were posted, Jiang Cheng caused a scene. He called out the impostor who took the exam and unmasked him publicly. Later, Zhao Suxiu came to impersonate the girl from years ago. He poured sesame oil to wash away the birthmark. It was just grease paint. I angrily slapped Zhao Suxiu. He told me that Miss Zun had long been killed by the mistress with a hot branding iron. I held her and wept bitterly. At the birthday banquet, Zhao Suxiu used arsenic to frame us. He retorted, Why did you know it was arsenic? I cooperated to find the defense map, and both were thrown into prison. After they faced justice, I held immense power, yet became a righteous official. He also bore me a son.
He held the child, his eyes red, saying, Congratulations.
You have finally become your own protagonist. Xiang'er, meeting you is my greatest blessing. He laughed, pinching my waist, and said, Don't flatter me. If I hadn't stolen that gold hairpin, you would still be there crying over Wanzhou. Thank you for stealing that hairpin. And thank you for stealing the rest of my life.